Okay, let's talk about this one. Companies spend millions of dollars each year on online, magazine, and billboard ads. Such advertising often encourages people to purchase products that they don't really need. What are the advantages and disadvantages of consumerism? Okay, Minho, are you there? Looks like Minho stepped away. How about Sammy? Are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me one advantage of consumerism.
I can think of the cash flow in the market. I mean the cash cycle, like more consumption, more cycling for the money in the market. I mean more jobs for people, or more work, more jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we call it the economy, right?
Correct.
It's good for the economy. And you said more jobs for people.
We can say economy will flourish, or economy will boost the economy.
That's it. Okay, one paragraph, one governing idea, you've got enough. What's a disadvantage of consumerism?
Excuse me, how can I say that the money will circulate? Like the money will, I don't know how to explain it, but like the money will pass I don't know, circulation of the money.
Yeah, that's it. More money will circulate throughout the economy. Okay. What's a disadvantage of consumerism?
I can think of more waste, let's say, a lot of.
So it's very hard to hear you, Sammy. It's clear, but it's really, really quiet.
Yeah, so because I'm a little bit far from the laptop. I can think of more waste. When you consume more, you have more waste, of course, and which is having a bad impact on the environment, let's say.
Okay, so tell me why wasting your money is bad.
Of course, it's bad, but I'm speaking about something else, which is consuming more, meaning more waste of garbage, let's say. I'm not speaking about money, and which is not good for the environment. Bad impact is another issue.
What we say,
that's a separate
people,
issue.
they will be in, like, how we can say it will be in debit condition. I mean, the bank will, they overload their debit.
Pronounce debt. The B is silent. Debit is your bank card. Like if you go to a store and you want to pay with your debit card, debit is your cash card for the bank.
Yeah.
Debt, when you borrow money, the B is silent. So people are highly indebted.
Indebted, which means they borrow more than what they have. They cannot return this money.
They can't repay that money. Yes.
Repay that money. So debit. So the card, when we use it, we say debit card.
Yeah, that's the bank
card.
But
when sometimes people, they are in debt.
Yes, exactly. in debt.
Okay, but the writing same.
No, debit card is BIT.
And debt,
BT.
really?
But the, let's just go like this. Indebted.
Indebted.
Yep, bad for the environment. Good, you've got enough.
Why bad for the environment?
Sammy, go ahead.
Because when you consume more than you need, then you will have a lot of waste. That's all.
Now, I want us to keep writing this essay in this way. So you've got your outline. Normally, you would do your outline and then you would start writing your good copy. But with the computer-based test, you can simply expand the outline into your final copy. You can basically keep writing an outline format and then just transform it into sentences and paragraphs afterwards or as you're going. Okay, so you've got this. We need an intro, we need a conclusion. So let's just walk through the process together. Okay, and you can start at any point when you're writing on computer. I love it. Okay, Dina, can you paraphrase the prompt?
Okay. Advertisement. Advertisements influence people to buy more goods than what they need, or buy more goods that are unnecessarily.
That are unnecessary, good. It's the adjective. Unnecessarily is the adverb.
Okay, that are unnecessary. Here we need adjective.
Yes.
Are unnecessarily.
Unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't get this procedure. This procedure is unnecessary.
Unnecessary. Okay. Advertisements influence people to buy more goods that are unnecessary. I think we are used to pronounce the adverb one.
Yeah.
That are unnecessary, and maybe we say for that reasons companies are spending enormous amount of money every year on
that reason companies
for that reason companies can we say are spending. We change the,
why don't you change it to passive voice?
Yeah, okay. Enormous amount of money. Enormous amount of money is enormous amount of money, I think, are spent by companies on online by companies on different online sites or
Okay.
on different ads.
Done.
Different online ads, or it's ads, it's
Just
clear online
just
on
ads, right? Okay. Let's just go one person after another. Marcella, thesis statement, please. Remember, this one's not argumentative. You're just summarizing the two main points.
Okay. So, as a result, one of the result, more money will circulate throughout the economy. I think it's better contrast, right? On one hand, more money will circulate throughout the economy. On the other hand, another result is that
we'll change it later.
Okay. This well, another result is that it is prejudicial. No.
Prejudice is when you discriminate against people. Just don't think too hard. Use simple language to express this.
It is.
We've already got it. You don't need to think of anything new.
Disadvantages.
Yeah.
For people because make them waste money and a waste of money and it's bad for the environment.
Okay, so it asks about advantages and disadvantages, and I think it's pretty clear that this is the advantage, this is the disadvantage. If we want to be like stupid crystal clear,
Hello? Can we say the main advantage direct?
Don't overcomplicate things. Remember,
what are the advantages and disadvantages?
Here's a little bit of psychology that I think might impact the way you look at this. The examiner doesn't know what you didn't write. The examiner only knows what you did write on the page. So if you've got this idea in your head about a nice, sophisticated way to express this idea, and then you decide to do it in a simpler way, the examiner never knows that other way that you were planning to do it and decided that you couldn't. He just has no idea. He's not psychic, right? So you're better off doing this in the simplest possible way that you're confident about. So here, right now, this looks simplistic, but you've got a relative clause in the first sentence. Okay, here you've got passive voice. One positive result is, this is a noun clause. This is another noun clause. You want to make this super complicated or super complex, here's an easy opportunity. What can you do here?
We put semicolon before, however.
Semicolon,
And,
good.
yeah, and then small letter and then.
Very nice.
Very
And
nice.
this is simpler than you wanted to write, than both you and Marcella would have written on your own.
But I want to, about this sentence of passive voice, the second one, can we say for that reason, because today I read this type, we can say companies are being spent.
No,
a lot of money.
Money is being spent. Companies are spending.
Company are being?
No.
No, are being.
Money
is
is
not
being
passive.
spent.
This is not passive voice, it's active. More
Companies are
money.
being spent doesn't make sense.
Yeah, money
Is being spent.
Is being spent.
Yeah.
Okay, by company.
But here you've got enormous amounts of money because that's a synonym for spend millions of dollars. Okay, companies spend millions of dollars. Enormous amounts of money are spent by companies. Okay, you don't need to change it to firms. Company is a very common word. There's no need to paraphrase it. Okay. This is advantages and disadvantages. One positive result is A, however, a negative result is B. Okay, so we've got result. Now we can use the word advantage. Just tell me what to do here to change what we've got into the first sentence in the first body paragraph. Minho, are you there? No? Still no. Okay, Sammy.
Yeah.
Topic sentence for the first body paragraph, sir.
About the advantages of
Yes. Advantages of consumerism. Don't think so hard. I can hear you thinking. Stop it. Just simple, direct language. We'll worry about making it complex later.
Okay. The main advantage of consumption that consuming more goods or more things.
You've already got it.
Yeah.
The idea is right here.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I'm trying to form it, in a good way. So the main advantage of consumption is that it creates bigger markets for the goods, which means more jobs for the people.
Hang on. Sorry, it's so quiet I can barely hear you.
I'm sorry for that. The main advantage of consumption or consuming is that it is creating a strong market.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Writing goes from general to specific. You've got this very general idea right here. Okay, more jobs is more specific than good for the economy. So this is why I'm saying I think you guys are just overthinking a lot of this. Okay. Okay, tell me about that. What does it mean that it's good for the economy?
More goods. I'm not speaking about the goods in the market, creating more business.
When more goods are
Sold
sold or purchased, whichever.
in the market, that will definitely create more jobs for people.
Can we say this type of sentence, the more goods are purchased, the more jobs are created? Why the more goods are purchased? We cannot say without that. Or purchase more goods. More goods that are purchased. More goods. Better the results we will see.
Harder. What do you notice here? This is active voice, right? It's you and that you. In this case, we've got passive on both sides. That's interesting. No one's ever asked about that. Okay.
Good are purchased. Okay, this way it will be passive voice. The more jobs are created.
Now, if something like this occurs, you write something like this, and then you get the second idea, you don't need to delete the first one. You can use this for your conclusion. Okay? See, it's writing itself already. What is our conclusion format? Therefore. Dina, what's our conclusion going to be?
You mean...
Actually, we don't need therefore because it's
in conclusion, we say.
In conclusion, that's right. There's no argument here. The more goods that are purchased, the more jobs are created. We can leave it. That's fine.
Yeah, we'll come. Okay.
Okay, what about the second part? In conclusion, the more goods that are purchased, the more jobs that are created. Okay, what about the disadvantages?
In contrast.
The more goods you consume, the more waste you create.
Okay.
Or the more.
In contrast, maybe we say
people
fell in debt when do consumerization for the economy.
Okay.
In contrast, people would fell in debt. The people into debt. which is bad.
Sure, it works. It's not beautiful, but it works. Okay? Don't overthink it. There's nothing grammatically wrong with it. If we have time, we can fix it. Let's go to here. We've got the main advantage of consumerism is that it is good for the economy. Okay, Marcella. Let's do the topic sentence for the second body paragraph.
So the second paragraph is advantage of consumerism. Well, on the other hand, the drawbacks of consumerism.
So we used main, we can say the primary. You've already got disadvantage here. Don't need to change it because we haven't used this word before. Save drawback in your back pocket for another opportunity.
Okay.
Consumerism is
spending money unnecessarily.
okay. Again, you've already done part of this work. Great. Okay, tell me more. One more sentence.
Just what the primary, you don't need to. Where we gonna use the second?
Bad for the environment?
Yeah.
Save it. I don't think you have enough space to talk about it.
Okay.
Here's the thing with these essays. It's one topic controls one paragraph. In a normal essay, it wastes people's money and puts them in debt. That's one idea. Bad for the environment is a separate idea. So yeah, you could talk about both, but you're better off choosing one of those and developing it in detail. So just because you think of something doesn't mean you have to use it.
Okay, but is that okay? I leave. Is that okay? I say about the environment in the introduction, and then doesn't mention it. Don't mention it.
We can get rid of it from the introduction.
Okay.
So let's put this in yellow for now. Let's just see what happens. Maybe we'll keep it, maybe we won't.
Maybe we can close the conclusion with.
No new ideas go in the conclusion. It's not allowed.
Okay.
It's just confusing. Because if it's an important idea, then you don't just stick it in the conclusion, because the conclusion, first of all, not many people will ever read your conclusion, because people are lazy, only read the first part. And second, if you put a new idea in your conclusion, the reader is like, huh? She didn't talk about this.
Okay.
Sometimes you can do more by saying less. Nobody believes me when I say that. The examiner doesn't know what you didn't write. They only know what you do put on the page.
So I think it's better we change it, because who wastes money? We have to say people, right?
Consumerism. The primary disadvantage of consumerism is that it wastes money. So this is a behavior. This behavior wastes money. You can start talking about people, no problem. What's a good example of this? Here's the thing. If you can think of an example, look, the example, writing goes from general to specific. The example is the most specific part of this paragraph. The significance just explains to the reader how the example is related to the prompt. So the example is the most specific part. If you can think of a good example, you just need to work backwards to make the rest of the paragraph more general. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
One solid example is all you need, because then you just generalize from that example and you've got the whole first part of the paragraph. Okay, so what's a really vivid example of?
I think one interesting example is people like just because people have a nice phone working really well and they just want to change because the company like Apple or Samsung release another new model of it.
Okay.
Mr. Ann, I think we need to talk also about the companies, how they advertise, because part of the question about ads.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Right, so you can either start with the example and then talk about the evidence, or you can flip it around. We absolutely have to talk about advertising. Right, but you don't need to start by talking about it. We're going to talk about it here, and we're going to talk about it where we do our evidence. So if we're talking about the example first, let me flip this around. For example, Marcella, just what did you say? People have a nice phone.
And they change just because the company release another model of it.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have to
So, okay, so the company released another newer model. Connect that to advertising.
people have a nice phone and they change it just because the company released another newer model.
Mm-hmm.
The advertisement.
They advertise the new phone.
And the new phone with a new how can I say different
Different options with the
yeah, like just some tiny
Tiny what?
press. They advertise the new phone. To make the new phone cooler
Mm-hmm.
than the previous one. but actually it's just tiny details. It is just, can I use tiny or smaller, small?
Let's just use, but actually it is just insignificant
Significant details.
details
Detail.
that have been improved. Okay, let's do it like this. To convince people that it's cooler than the previous one. Okay, good.
Can I ask something? I just remember one thing that I did in my essay.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they talk about cell phone, I think they are talking about just the part that I can call someone,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think I try to paraphrase it in some parts, telling like about technological devices. Do you think I will lose points because of it?
It may be, because technological devices is general and cell phone is very specific.
Yeah.
So you should talk about devices in general, and
Sorry.
and I would give at least 2 examples of 2 different devices.
Because I use smartphone, cell phone.
Kind of this, well, almost nobody has a cell phone anymore.
Yeah.
My father-in-law, I think, is the only person I know who actually has a cell phone, who refuses to get a smartphone.
Yeah, I try to paraphrase using like smartphone, cell phone, and then I don't have any choice anymore. So I think I mix the idea of saying about cell phone with because I use
I think, okay, like that, you mean, are smartphone and cell phone interchangeable? I think for the most part, yes. I think when most people say cell phone or smartphone or mobile, it's the same thing.
She wrote technical devices.
Oh, technical device.
More technological, what you wrote?
Actually, I don't remember anymore.
If you wrote technical device, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. I need just to wait and see the result. I don't know. I don't remember anymore. It's the time is so short that I couldn't think about it. So
Okay. Okay, getting back to this one. So we've covered the company spends tons of money. The ads are, it's trivial improvements. Trivial is a good word here. Trivial details that have been improved, insignificant details that have been improved. Okay, so what? Now we need to talk about why this is a problem. Because right now we haven't mentioned any disadvantages.
we can say
Because
that
if you're a multimillionaire and you do this, it makes no difference.
we can say that the percentage of people who is in debt has increased.
Okay, so what happens? The company spends tons of money to advertise this thing, to convince people that it's great. So what happens? Consumers,
Make a huge line.
yes, then line up to buy these new phones.
We're
Mm-hmm.
thinking about their mhm.
Okay, so here's a real stat, I think.
In or on debt.
Let's just make something up. I can't remember what the actual stat was. I think 30% of Canadians are one paycheck away from poverty. If they miss one paycheck, getting one paycheck, they can't pay their rent. But okay, that's kind of a complicated statistic because then you have to make the connection. But what can we say here? In fact, the average Canadian, say, Canadian has tens of thousands of dollars of high interest credit card debt. From what?
From consumerism?
From these kinds of purchases.
Mhm.
And as a result, can't afford
To pay their basic needs?
Yeah.
Or
Or
their
can't
expenses?
afford to even retire. Even retire, ever retire. Okay, that's a lot. This is 115 words, and we haven't even mentioned the environment. Okay, we're getting rid of the environment.
Yeah. When you wrote the first sentence, 30% of Canadians, when we say 30% of Canadians is because it's 30% or are?
Are.
Because you wrote are.
Yeah, 30% are. Is more than one.
Okay.
Even if it were 1%, it's still more than one person. 1% are. 1% of Canadians.
Because I thought about the word percent, because 30%.
It would be like this. 10% of my salary goes toward transportation.
Goes, because here, which means singular.
Because it goes. I'm visualizing like a slice of a pie that goes to something. But if you're talking about 10% of Canadians, that's a plural, that's a huge number of people. That's just a number of people, right?
Number of people, okay.
Can't afford to even retire. Okay. Okay, good. That's done. We've got this. Okay, main advantage of consumerism. Dina?
Yes, so we will do the, I think that particular graph will be before this one.
Yes.
The main
See, you
advantage
don't, when you're writing with a computer, you don't have to do it in order.
I know, yeah.
If all of a sudden the ideas are flowing nicely for the last paragraph, you can start with the last paragraph. Just don't go overboard and spend half an hour writing one paragraph. When you see something like this is getting pretty chunky. This is 8 lines. 8 lines is 115 words. This is like the limit, because you do a second one of these, you're at 230, plus your conclusion and your introduction, you're over 250. You're good.
Yeah.
You can always add more later.
Yeah. So now the main advantage for consumerization is that it is good for the economy. When more goods are sold in the market, that creates more jobs.
Mm-hmm. You can talk about how this works, how this happens. You can think of an example.
Because for this, for production of these products need many skilled people to work on. For example, manufacturing. So that's why there is so many jobs.
Okay, tell me what to write.
I wish I know.
I wish I knew.
I wish I knew. When more goods are sold in the market, that creates more jobs.
Hey, pick a market. Talk about Canada's economy, for example. Talk about, okay, I mean, you have to start making connections of some kind, right? That creates more jobs. So what? Why do we need more jobs? When people have jobs, they pay more taxes.
Yeah, well, that's why I want to say when there is people, when there is when people have jobs, so they will pay their taxes, so tax revenues increase, and this definitely will boost the economy, because maybe this tax revenue will be paid for different aspects, for example, health or education, or they will pay their taxes and tax revenues increase. And like a vicious cycle will begin again for the government.
Not a vicious cycle. Vicious cycle is always negative. Vicious means bad, like oh, I'm scared of walking down that street because my neighbors have a vicious dog.
I thought when we say a cycle will start again, I mean...
You can say, oh, it's escaping me. A vicious cycle? No, a virtuous cycle would be the opposite. Is it virtuous circle or vicious?
No, we say vicious. When something will return in any cycle, vicious cycle.
Virtuous.
I mean, tax will go to the government.
Yes, so, okay, let me just put that here. Vicious cycle versus virtuous cycle. Virtue is like positive things about people. Vicious is really mean.
Okay.
When people are working, they'll pay their taxes and tax revenues increase for the government. This creates a, let's use that new phrase, virtuous
cycle.
Virtuous cycle. Tell me about it. Whereby, you know what, this doesn't belong here. This belongs here. This creates a virtuous cycle whereby more people are working and those, okay, this creates a virtuous whereby more people are working and these workers will then pay their taxes and tax revenues
increase for the government. As a result, the economy will flourish.
So what is the, okay, so what? Tax revenues increase for the government. What's good about that?
Because give chance to the government to pay those workers.
So population will have benefits.
What does the government use tax money for? You can just make up a couple examples of great things the government will spend that money on.
Education, security, health
sector, different sectors.
Sure, and even infrastructure, okay? Oops, bad spelling, infrastructure. We'll have more money.
Still, we need to connect it with the consumerization.
Yes. Therefore?
It is. Therefore, people can afford to pay. I mean, they can purchase.
No. You have to connect consumerism, advertising, and why this is positive. One sentence.
Wow.
Don't overthink it too much. Just make the connection.
The whole population will benefit of it.
Therefore, the whole population will benefit as a result of what? We already said as a result, due to what?
Consumerism.
Or due to the advertisement of the companies?
Due to the
influence of advertisement,
sums of money spent to
advertise a product.
Yes, to advertise products and to
encourage
the consumption.
Consumers.
Encourage consumers to buy products they don't need.
Yeah, wow.
Because that's what consumerism is, one word that means consumers buy products they don't need. right? Consumerism is a great word because it combines all that stuff together. It means people buying stuff they don't need.
So still we need an
288.
example here
No, why?
for the first body paragraph.
Mm-hmm. You've got examples of what the government's going to spend money on.
This one is okay. Yeah, this.
Yeah, and then you've got a good
kind of.
example in the second one with the iPhone. If you want to throw an example in here, let's say you've got a few extra minutes. Let's throw an example in. What does Canada's economy depend on? What's like a product that's actually still made here, that's expensive, and that people love to buy new?
Phones?
Well, they don't make them here.
In China.
What's a big product with 4 wheels that we still make in Canada?
Cars?
Good guess. Okay.
Is it related to what?
Well, it's
food.
No, cars.
No,
cars.
He said for cars.
Cars.
I said 4 wheels, right?
I have no clue.
When Canadians buy, okay, when Canadians exchange their leased car every 3 years.
Yes.
Exchange their leased car every few. They're perfectly good.
Wow, good.
Leased car every 3 years. What happens? Just the obvious thing.
They buy the more modern car, which
we're good for the economy. That's the purpose of this example.
The companies will sell more cars.
Dealership and those people, they will have jobs.
It will warm up the car production.
Yes.
So
we have this word spurs.
We said car production.
Marcella, do you know the word spur?
No.
Okay. Dina, do you remember what this word means?
Yes, it's like jump or very high increase.
It means to encourage. It means to encourage. A cowboy has spurs on his boots. Cowboy boots have spurs on the back.
Oh, now I know. It's used to hit the animal?
To hit the horse, right? To encourage it to go faster. So you can use the word spur, means to encourage. Okay, so when Canadians exchange their perfectly good leased car every 3 years for a new one, this spurs automobile production, benefiting factory workers and salespeople at dealerships. Okay. Okay, so this is in the wrong place. This needs to go after this one because they pay taxes after they have jobs. We put that here.
In the introduction, I think we have to say who is wasting money, because could means that the company who is advertising wastes money.
Absolutely.
On last line, the people who buy these goods fall into that.
Sorry, buy these goods. The people who buy these. Oh yeah, goods. Which is bad for the individual. Okay, we can do one line more. Thus, consumerism is good for the economy, but bad for the individual. That might be too repetitive. You want to use $100 word simultaneously beneficial for the economy and harmful for the individual. I think this is a little bit overkill, but hey. And now that we're at 3:30. So yeah, this is overkill.
Can we put like last recommendation or something?
No, don't bother.
Okay. No, not bother.
Everything that you add over and above that 250 words,
that's a killer.
You're risking making more mistakes.
Yes.
You're better off ending a bit sooner and going through your work, especially because it's so easy to edit on the computer-based test. Okay, let's go through. Advertisements influence people to buy more goods that are unnecessary. For that reason, enormous amounts of money are spent by companies on ads. One positive result is that more money will circulate throughout the economy. However, a negative result is that it is a waste of money for consumers. Okay. Economy. More goods are sold in the market. It creates more jobs. More people are working, and these workers will then pay their taxes and tax. Good. On the other hand, the primary Spanish that it wastes. Yeah, this is what you were talking about. Wastes whose money? Consumers' money. S apostrophe. Just because the company released another new law.
In the end of the advantage paragraph, like as an idea, significant sentence, can we say the importance of consumerization cannot be underestimated?
You could, yeah.
Or cannot be denied?
Can't be denied, can't be understated.
What we say, there is overstated and understated. I think overstated also negative.
Yes, oh, sorry. The importance of X, the importance of consumerism for the economy cannot be overstated.
Overstated. I thought overstated is positive, but later when I went through Google, it is, yeah, we can be used in this situation. Or overstated or underestimated. Underestimated
equals is super important. It's super important. Cannot be overstated, can't be underestimated.
Or cannot be denied.
Overestimated. Importance of consumerism for the economy can't be overstated. Can't be overestimated. Can't be underestimated.
Cannot be denied. Easier.
Well, yeah, let's just do this. I need another coffee. Okay, cannot be denied. Consumerism for the economy can't be overstated. Cannot be denied. Those are the two common ones.
Yeah, common one. Yeah.
What's good for the economy? Very nice. Okay, do you think you can write this without reference to looking at this one? Okay, this is your assignment for today. You can read it a couple times. I'll share this with you. And try and write it from memory. But I want you to try and use this technique that you saw. Put your timer on and just write it as point form and expand as you go along. You don't need to write the whole thing. Just as quickly as you can, summarize this in point form. Just get those ideas out there in the correct order and then expand that into sentences and paragraphs. It's a different way to write that's not linear. I mean, this is how I write. This is how most writers write. They have, if you look at most writers, they have these notebooks that are just filled with pages and pages and pages and pages of ideas. And these pages of ideas are often related to different chapters in a book they're writing. Okay, because something occurs to them that, okay, this has to happen in the plot, but it has to happen at the end of the novel. Oh, this gives me an idea. Because this happens at the end of the novel, this other thing has to happen earlier. So I'm going to stick this into my pile of notes related to the beginning of the novel. And it just jumps back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then they try and kind of put this all together later.